Hello and welcome to How to Get the Most Out of the JSTOR AI Research Tool webinar by JCS Online Resources. I'm Victoria, an account executive at JCS, and I'll be taking you through this webinar today. So a bit of housekeeping before we get started. This webinar will be recorded, so once the webinar finishes, you will be emailed a link to the recording, as well as the PowerPoint slides that I'll be taking you through today. There is a Q&A section to this webinar, so please feel free to pop in any questions that you have into the chat box, and I'll answer all of those at the end. And if you do have any technical queries, please feel free to email our support team at support@jcsonlineresources.org, and they'll be happy to help. So I'll now move on to the agenda. So today we'll be covering how to switch the JSTOR AI Research Tool on and off on the JSTOR admin. And then we'll be ensuring that users can access the tool through their personal accounts. Then we'll start with doing a keyword search to move on to the AI research tool. And for this, we're going to be using the pre-made prompts and natural language queries to ask questions and also find related topics and recommended content. Then finally, we'll link to citations and download the conversation history. So I'll now change my screens to the JSTOR homepage that I've got here. So I'm already logged into my subscription account. So the first step is to make sure that I can turn on and off the JSTOR AI tool. So I'm going to go into my JSTOR admin. So I'm signed into my admin account as well. So to find JSTOR admin, I'm going to go to the top right where my email is and click on JSTOR admin in the drop-down menu. So on this page, this is normally where you can see your usage statistics. But from here, we're actually going to go to the left-hand column and click on Accounts Information. So at the top, we can see the Features section, which includes JSTOR's AI Research Tool. And this has currently been enabled as the checkbox has been ticked. However, at any point, you can choose to disable or re-enable this tool for all your institutional users. So this might be to ensure that the tool is complying with your school's AI policies or during exam periods or research projects. So you do have complete control on whether this AI research tool is available to your students and staff. So I'll now go back to the JSTOR homepage just by clicking the logo on the top left here. And the next step is to make sure that your users are logged into their personal accounts so they can use the tool. So the best way to check for this is if they can see their email on the top right and that they're able to use their Workspace as well. So if both of those work, then you're ready to get started. So for today, I'm going to use an example of electricity in the 18th century. So I'll now just do a standard keyword search for that now. And we'll see that there will be thousands of results that come up, but we're just going to pick on one of the top results here today. So I'll click on the politics of experiment. And once we've got this open, we'll see that the AI research tool is already open on the right in a chat box. And just above the chat box, you'll see that there is a green button switch to on. So your students and staff can actually choose to switch this off and disable the AI research tool for the specific article or ebook chapter that they're looking at. And this also won't affect your other users across your institution. And this just returns them to a page where they can see the further details on the left and the document on the right. But for today, we want to make sure that the tool has been enabled. And you'll notice that the AI tool has already responded to an auto-generated prompt here, which is how is our standard keyword search of electricity in the 18th century related to this text? So it's responded with an overview with some key bullet points of the themes covered. So this is a great way to start our research here. But for today, I'm going to mainly focus on the pre-made prompts on the bottom, which are what is this about, show related content, and recommend topics. And there's also an ask a question box as well. So I'll start by clicking on what is this about to get an overview of this specific text. And in this overview, we'll see it covers the key themes from the article, as well as the time period, and a couple people mentioned within the text as well. So from here, I might decide that I'd like to return to this journal article at a later stage. So I can go over to the left-hand side where I can see the buttons for download, save, and cite. And I'm going to click on save to save this journal article to a folder I've already made called 18th Century Electricity. So I can just return to that at a later date. So the next prompt that I want to show off is the show related content button. So once I click on this, the AI tool will respond with a list of content specifically related to this text from ebook chapters and journal articles. So I'll click on the second journal article here, which is Benjamin Franklin's Two Lightning Experiments. When I open this, it's opened itself as a new tab. So I can always go back to the previous tab and previous article to continue that AI conversation from there as well. But now on this new article, you might notice that now the AI Research Tool's chat box is now empty. And this is because the conversation history is not carried over between different articles and chapters that you're looking at. So when you do ask a prompt, you're only asking questions about the specific text that you're looking at. And the AI tool is only responding using information from the specific text as well. So it's very much enclosed and isolated to only the text that you're looking at. So I'm going to start by using the Ask a Question box. And this is where you can input some natural language queries, which is essentially just typing a question out as you might say it out loud. So I'm going to start by asking the tool to summarize the text in 100 words. And just while that is summarizing, I do want to clarify that this AI research tool is to be used more as a thinking partner or thinking assistant rather than a thinking replacement. This is because you're not going to skip any parts of the research process. You're just going to be helping make text a bit more accessible, readable, and sort of pinpoint where the key information is to assist with any research projects. So you very much are still engaging with the text through this tool. So in the summary, we'll see at the bottom of the response that there are some page numbers that have links to them. And this is a great way to verify what the AI tool has responded with. So I can actually click on one of these page numbers, so page 16, and you'll see on the document on the left that we've now scrolled down to page 16, and this is where I can double check what the AI tool has responded with to check it's all accurate, but also to find some extra information for my research as well. So for the next question that I want to ask, I might say which other authors are mentioned in the text. And that will hopefully answer that and also provide those page numbers again so we can verify what it said. But just while it's doing that, there we go. It has responded quite quickly, so that's quite nice. And you'll see there are 3 main authors here cited alongside the page references that we can click through again and just check where they were specifically mentioned in the text. So I also wanted to add that the AI research tool cannot actually write an essay for you, and this is by design. So I am going to ask the AI tool to write an essay on the uses of electricity. And this should be quite a quick response because we already know what it's going to say, which is that the AI tool can't write an essay on the topic I've requested. However, it can answer specific questions about anything included in the text, as well as summarizing information as we just did earlier. So it's not going to write a whole 2,000-word essay for your students, and it's not skipping any parts of that writing process either. So from having this back and forth with the AI tool, I've probably decided that I would like to return to this journal article later as well. So I'm going to go over to the left and I'm going to click on save and save the journal article to the same folder as before, the 18th century electricity folder. So I can just return to that whenever I'd like. And the final prompt that we're going to go through for today is the recommend topics prompt. So once I click on this, you'll see a little list of other searches that we can do. And all of these topic searches are derived from the specific text that we're looking at. So if I click on European experiments on electricity, this will open itself as a new tab, and it's going to provide a list of the top 25 results related to European experiments on electricity. So this is a great way to keep finding more relevant articles and ebooks for your research project. So I'll now go back to the article here. So we've had a lot of prompts and prompt responses now from this tool. So it would also be very helpful to be able to cite and reference what we've gone through today. So I can scroll up this chat box whenever I'd like to see my previous prompts and the AI tool's responses. And from here, I might decide to look at the prompt response to which other authors are mentioned. And you'll see there is a thumbs up and thumbs down button here. And that's just a way to provide some feedback to JSTOR about how helpful the response has been. But we're really interested in the cite response button here. And this will create a pop-up which shows the auto-generated citations for the prompt response. And it goes across the three sort of referencing styles here, MLA, Chicago, and APA. So we can copy these directly from this pop-up and input that into any document or citation sort of tool that we're using. And now we also might want to cite the entire conversation history that we've had today. And to do this, we're going to go to the three dots in this button on the bottom right here, and click on Cite AI Research Tool. This is another pop-up for the same citation styles, but this time it's citing the entire conversation that we've had. And as you can see, this little note here, citations for AI tools are still evolving, so it's really important to still follow your institution's specific guidelines rather than always using what's auto-generated. So on these three dots again, we'll see there's an option to download the conversation history as a PDF or HTML. So if I click on download as PDF, this should save in my download file folder at the top there. So it's saved into one of these files, but I've also downloaded a transcript earlier just so I could show an example here. So I'm just going to go over to this downloaded PDF. And you'll see that this is a transcript of a conversation on the JSTOR's AI Research Tool, what date it was downloaded, and on the specific journal article here. So I can always return back to that journal article, and I can see my prompts and the AI tool's responses as well. So I'll go back to our journal article again. And I do just want to round off by showing the workspace and where we've saved the two journal articles that we've gone through today. So I go to the top right and click on Workspace here. And then we'll go into our 18th century electricity folder. And in here, there are the two journals that I've saved. So at any point in the future, I can reopen these journals and restart my AI tool conversation and ask some other questions to really deepen my research again. So I can always return back to these articles. So I now want to just finish up on the presentation, as we have got some support materials that we've collected for you. So as you know, you will be receiving this PowerPoint slide once the webinar finishes, so you can access these URL links and share them with colleagues in the future. So on this slide, we've got promotional materials for the JSTOR AI tool, from frequently asked questions, the promotional toolkit, a YouTube video, and also how to manage access. The next slide, we have the JSTOR success guide covering training, promotion, admin, and usage. And our final support slide, we've got two documents attached for ways to promote your digital library from JCS, from 6 essential ways to promote your digital library and making the most of your digital resources. So that brings us to the end of the demonstration part. So I'm now going to move on to the Q&A section. So I'll just open the chat box now and see what some of you have come up with. So someone's asked, is the JSTOR AI tools prompts customizable? So if you wanted show-related content, but not what is this about? So as far as I know, the tool does not have any customization on the order of prompts or whether these can be hidden. And actually further information can be found on the JSTOR AI tools introduction and frequently asked questions page if you do have any further queries about that process there. Another person's asked for the recording. Yes, you will be receiving a recording of this entire webinar, so you can go through it in your own time and share this with any colleagues in the future. So, a question on, are there any plans to include Harvard referencing style? So that's something that JSTOR will be sort of sorting out on their end. So I don't currently have any updates on that front. However, you can always check the JSTOR sort of update and support pages if there are any plans to include that referencing style. So there's been a question on, is the conversation saved only if it is downloaded? Yes, so the conversation will sort of remain on the website for you to look at for a bit, but this depends on your current sort of cache and what data is saved within your browser temporarily. So actually to return back to the conversation in the long term, the best practice is to download the conversation. So yeah, and then so if a student grabs the citation but forgets to download the conversation, can they access the conversation via the citation? So with this, no, your student won't be able to access their conversation history through the citation, as the conversation history is only held temporarily based on your browser's sort of settings on holding that information. So it's always best practice to make sure that you do download that conversation so you can refer back to it. However, the citation should still be valid to use. You just won't know specifically what the conversation was. Someone's asked, would it encourage students to read the article at all themselves? So this is where the sort of verifying what the AI tool has responded with the page numbers can really help with encouraging students to return back to the text itself. So really the tools being used to sort of make the text a bit more accessible to find those key points, as a lot of the articles and book chapters are academic. It just means it's a bit more accessible to those secondary school students or college students. So yes, there's always the opportunity to return back to the text, and actually all the information the AI tool is using is from the text itself. So even by using the tool, they are still interacting with that text as well. So yeah, lots of concerns about making sure students are encouraged to read the article, and yeah, completely agree. It is always important to just check where the AI research tool has been referencing the response, so you can still go through those page numbers and find a specific page relevant to what the students are looking for there. Someone else has asked, can you save the conversation in your workspace? So at this time, you can't save the conversation in your workspace. So for now, I would still encourage the downloading of the PDF, as that will be more of a like physical copy that you can return back to. And with that PDF, you'll be able to print it out as well, so it can go outside of the digital space. Oh, here's a good question. I've noticed some articles are not able to be analyzed using the AI tool. What percentage of articles can you use the tool for? So I don't currently have the percentage of articles off the top of my head. However, there are articles and ebook chapters that aren't able to be analyzed by the AI tool, and this is purely because the AI tool is only being used on those texts that publishers have agreed, or publishing presses have agreed for the tool to be used on. So this is where JSTOR is still trying to be ethical in the use of its AI tool. So that's why not every single text can be analyzed by the JSTOR AI Research Tool. Yeah, a question on, can you upload the PDF to your workspace? As far as I'm aware, you're not able to, as the workspace is saving only those articles or chapters from the JSTOR websites. So yeah, I would just recommend maybe creating a folder on your own desktop and making sure you save those there. So thank you so much for all your questions. I think that's probably the last of them for now. So yeah, that's all we have time for today. So thank you so much for listening. And we look forward to supporting your institution with your subscriptions in the future. So I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Thank you so much. Bye.